question too, because not many people seem to be bringing this up, at least what I've seen. So I want to know what you guys think of it too, and I'll give my thoughts too. You think the Russo brothers were the right choice to direct this? I mean, this is the first Avengers movie where Joss Whedon doesn't have his hands all over it. Do you think that was a good move, especially considering I can't speak for you two, but Age of Ultron disappointed many.
I was very disappointed with Age of Ultron. I think it's one of the worser Marvel films, and Civil War,
one of the weaker.
It's definitely one of the weaker, and Civil War is my favorite of the MCU, and it still is today, despite Infinity War. Civil War I like the most, so when I heard that they were directing this, I'm like, you know what? They did a great job handling the large cast in that, which I thought, like, I don't know how you're going to handle this. You have to introduce Black Panther, you have to introduce Spider-Man, a villain, then you have to introduce this whole conflict. I was like, there's no way you guys are going to be able to pull this off. And then they pull it off, and I'm like, okay, I guess they can do the Avenger movie then.
What do you think, Dom? You think the Russos were good to direct this? Were a good choice?
I don't really have a preference towards the Russo brothers. Obviously, they did pretty darn good here. Just the fact that a movie can come out like this, and it's just not an absolute.
And fans are going
mess.
Crazy about it.
The fact that not only fans are fine with it, or like actually loving it. Not only are the fans loving it, but just the fact that, like I saw. I'm gonna say an Indian couple. I don't know, but the fact like a 50-year-old Indian couple with their like 5-year-old kid can go in there and like. It looked like they were having a good time, like, and just not be completely confused. Like that's pretty cool that you can do that. That you can cater to both those audiences.
And you know what's funny is like I know, and I think this rumor's starting to get dispelled a little bit. But like, you know, I looked at and I don't want to go into this tangent because I could vocalize my opinion on this, but they had like this. They had AMC had the 31-hour Marvel movie marathon leading up to Infinity War, which I don't want to get. I was gonna say we're in safe harbor. I would rather drink Thanos' recycled piss water than have to sit through 31 hours of that in a row. I really would. But anyway, no, that's neither here nor there. A lot of people showed up for that. It was a sold-out event, many theaters. But you look at the makeup of that group, and it's like by and large, you think it's like. Over like the stereotype, overweight white men.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I was looking at this 31-hour marathon. Some of the makeups on this, you had every race, you had every age group.
Overweight Asians, overweight African Americans, overweight Hispanic.
Yeah, we just got to talk about I Feel Pretty. Watch it.
There you go. Exactly. No, in all seriousness, you had men, women of all ages too. I mean, even in my theater, I'm sure you guys can speak to the same.
Yes.
My theater was diverse as can be. You had old people, you had people of every race, every ethnicity. It somewhat really shows you the potential of what a theater can be.
I had one of the best theater interactions ever where I had to go to the bathroom and it was me, a 50-year-old guy, a 20-year-old like college student, myself, a 13-year-old kid, and we were just talking about Marvel movies. No. In the same bathroom. We were all just talking about Marvel movies and like the 50-year-old guy's like, yeah, you better do it now before we have to sit down because I ain't getting up, and like everybody's like, yeah, same here. And then, like even the group of friends I went with, I mean, it was like there was 5 girls, 5 guys, like we had Asian, Hispanic, white, everything. I mean, it's like this was an event for me and my friends and just everybody else in that theater I was sitting with, and everybody was just eating it up. Whenever a character came on screen, people just started cheering, and it was just like, this is a great way to watch it. And then I went to go see it again like early in the morning just so I can actually like hear every line of dialogue that was said because like people were cheering or laughing way too hard at something. It's like, okay, I actually want to like see this movie again, guys.
But Marvel did it. They made a movie that I think is defies like generation in terms of in a sense.
Oh,
and defies like a target demo. You know what I mean? Because I think you could be 8 and you can be 80. I mean, even my neighbors who are 60 years old and retired, they're looking forward. They're going to see this week.
My dad loved this, and my mom is like, "You're taking me to go see this on Mother's Day," and she's only seen the Guardians movies and Spider-Man. That's it.
I was gonna say, you could pick 2 worse of the MCU. Not that there's, I wouldn't say there's not that many outright awful like recent MCU.
No.
I don't think I hesitate to say if there would be any. I think the worst superhero movie I've seen recently, or at least in recent time, recent meaning the last 10 years, is probably X-Men Apocalypse, and that doesn't even apply here.
Yeah.
That doesn't even apply here. I mean, so yeah, I was gonna say there's not too much in the realm here that I would call like very terrible.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But anyway, more towards the critical points. For I have some.
Oh, just say it. You hate the movie.
I don't hate it. I don't know where you're getting your information from. I don't hate it. I definitely don't. I liked it more than I like Guardians too. I'll say that. For what that's worth.
I can agree to that.
Let me just say this, okay? And this is what really bothered me. I'm gonna go with the big critical point out here. This movie is oftentimes up until the last maybe half hour, 45 minutes, unbearably comedic. There is too much humor here. For a movie that they bill as dramatic as it is and as apocalyptic as it is, and is with all the stakes on the line, because this thing actually does feel like it has stakes, it suffers from the same Last Jedi problem, which was another doubling down of what one of my main complaints of Age of Ultron was. And in some ways, I think this is worse than Age of Ultron in terms of its humor because of the fact that it's dealing with such a moment of gravity for a franchise that's been building to this for so long. And I just think so many jokes here that are either inappropriate or for the set. The themes of the movie, they don't land for me. And that was one thing that took me out of the dramatic tension. Dom, you want to respond to that?
That's such a subjective thing, which I guess is why we're talking on the air. But still, it's hard to do this without going like joke by joke. You know what I'm saying? But I kind of disagree because maybe I'm just swept up in just the good times of all these characters coming together. Like I understand where you're coming from because I kind of agree with that too, where this is like the universe is at stake again, but like no, honestly, like really never before in all of these 18 movies has the universe really been at this level of we're going to get screwed here if we don't do something now. However, at the same time, this is also maximum melting pot of all these characters that everyone has grown to love. Mm-hmm. So at the same time, it's like, what other chance do you have, especially when everyone's alive, mind you, right? Going into this, because who knows what's going to happen afterwards.
Oh.
But
post Avengers 4, you're saying?
Yeah, really.
Okay.
But just seeing, this is the only chance you're really going to get of all these characters in this specific time and place of this sequence of events. We're going to see them blend together. So honestly, the first half of the movie, I didn't mind that the Guardians were just bouncing back and forth with jokes on Thor. I didn't mind that
Tony Stark was bouncing jokes on them.
Yeah, honestly. I didn't mind that Stephen Strange and Tony Stark were kind of going at it with some, I don't even know if I call it tension, just basic tension banter, I guess. Well. I didn't mind it too much. But at the same time, I understand where you're coming from, Steve. I think we both agree though that we're glad that it really hit the brakes on most of those jokes once it got serious.
No, I'll give it that. I mean, but there's instances that I think really make the movie lag. Like case in point, it's the scene that I mentioned in my review too, when it involves Spider-Man, Iron Man, Drax, who I thought was insufferable here. I'm gonna say that.
Really?
I'm gonna say that right now. Okay. I found him insufferable.
Oh,
here.
I thought he was way better than this than he was in Guardians 2.
Star-Lord's in it as well, and I believe Mantis is the other one. And it's like a whole minute and a half quote unquote debate about whether or not Footloose is a cinematic achievement. Like, I don't need that here. I don't want that here. I don't think it holds any water. And I think, and another character too, I found great, and I get he's struggling with something too, something personal, something that greatly hinders his abilities too. I thought the Hulk sucked here too. I thought that he was another character that they really almost robbed him of sort of his presence by kind of turning him into a caricature and like always operating as like this. Again, this sort of impulsive character who refers to his alter ego, vulgarly when under duress. I thought that there was a lot of moments here where include comedy that either didn't work or they really kept trying to think like, we don't want to make this too heavy until the end. And I thought that was very tonally awkward for me.
Like, you think it's just like a hard shift. Hey, joke. Oh.
Yeah, and then like, oh, well, this is really serious. It's like, I don't mind the humor. I really don't. But I think you do it so much, especially this kind of I call it the quippy humor. Yeah. You do it so much, it sort of undermines it. Joe, you've seen this, 3 times this weekend? Two times this weekend.
I'll be seeing it 3 on Mother's Day.
Yes, indeed. What did you think of the humor? Am I off? I know it's subjective, but am I off base?
This is why Civil War is my favorite one, because I think it does it the best.
I would agree.
And the drama. But I'm with Dom on this one too. I kind of disagree with you because for me it's like I agree with what Dom said. It's the only chance you're gonna get with Star-Lord and Tony Stark being in the same room.
And that sounds like an excuse too. I understand that, but go ahead.
But like also it's just Marvel has always been like they've never taken themselves too seriously with something, which I think is what hindered Last Jedi's comedy. Is that when we get a moment like Princess Leia flying through space, it looks silly. It didn't fit. While in this, when we get like Spider-Man in space swinging his webs around,
Yeah.
we can believe it more because of the way Marvel handles their humor and everything. Also, I think it works because, you know, when you introduce a character into this big gravity event, like Doctor Strange meeting Iron Man and everything, it's like, how are you going to introduce this and make people like buy into it and believe it? Do it through humor, ease everybody, and be like, okay, I can buy into this, because that's what Marvel's been doing most of the time, is just using humor. So use that humor to your advantage to make everybody meet up with each other. Make Star-Lord meet Tony Stark by using humor. Make Peter meet Doctor Strange by using humor. Make it more believable.
Fair point.
I will say also, I'll balance the act here. It's weird to the point where we are 18 movies into this kind of humor. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, it is so recognizable, it hurts almost.
There are
really,
yeah.
it does, and it's so unique to this franchise. Whereas it can't be subtle anymore. It really can't. Especially, I mean, this isn't even. I'm not even talking about Guardians anymore. Like the Thor movies have gone full that. You know, full that.
I will say though, the Thor movies have benefited from going full that.
Okay,
though.
fair enough. But
I know what you're saying. I've just and I feel like in some ways a broken record. 'Cause it feels like I've just started complaining about this in Age of Ultron, but I feel it was Age of Ultron that like the humor rubbing me the wrong way is what I'm saying. I feel like that's when it started to go downhill for me. It feels like that's at that point they were just trying to meet like a quota of jokes where it felt much more natural in the Iron Man movies. Which I know what you're saying about the Marvel brand humor. I mean, you couldn't make the Iron Man. You wouldn't have the Iron Man movies without those.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
it fits the most there because that's him.
You know, no, and I just look at the way, like you even said too, with Civil War, and I know you got a point to make. Joe, I know you said too. You look at Civil War, what did it? I thought they did it phenomenally. You look at the first Guardians, I thought they did it phenomenally. You know what I mean? I've not been anti this for a while. I've just been anti it when the anti-humor
They use it as a crutch.
When they use it as a crutch, and it undermines something as dramatically compelling as this.